Let's now welcome Art Taylor. He knows this field cold as the president of the Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance. And also we say good day to Marc, the founder of the Giving Back Fund. He's worked with athletes and celebrities, advising them on charitable activities. Art, from what you've learned from Paula's report about, for example, Lamar Odom's foundation, how unique is this situation, do you think?
Well, you know, just judging from Paula's research, you can see that it's unfortunately pretty widespread. Lamar's situation may be particularly egregious because there seems to have been quite a bit of neglect of the organization. And, you know, you can't help but say to yourself, my goodness, why did you even do it if you weren't going to put some time and energy into making it truly an organization that could benefit people? It's really unfortunate because I think it has a chilling effect on the instincts of other athletes who may want to do good things, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe some athletes should, particularly ones that aren't going to pay a lot of attention to what they've established, just leave it alone and give it over to people who know what they're doing, who can manage these organizations, and who can deliver some social benefit.
Well, Marc, your organization is not only a charity in and of itself, it also manages charities. So when you hear the details of this, what goes through your mind?
Well, a lot of pain, because I founded the Giving Back Fund in 1997 specifically to counter what was a wild, wild west of athlete philanthropy that existed back then, and there were so many instances of exactly what you found, and I would have thought that over the last 16 years we've been doing our best to improve this field, but it doesn't look like we're doing enough. And
well, you're not the only one out there trying to change things. Why do you think, though, there has not been even an incremental change if things are as bad as they've been?
Well, I think the focus is completely on the wrong thing. Paula mentioned in her piece that you get a tax deduction from the IRS and you get good PR from starting a foundation, and that motivates many people to do this, but that shouldn't be the motivation. As Art said just now, ask yourself why you do this. The only set of reasons that make sense to start a foundation is to either save lives, or to in some way better the community. And if you're not doing it for that reason, it makes no sense. So I think you have to unravel what we're looking at and go back to the very most important reason you do this, which is to have impact. And if that's your goal, everything should derive from what will give me the most impact.
Isn't that rather halcyonic? I mean, that's pretty idealistic, Marc, because you've got people out there trading on the equity of their name. They think for a good reason, but it's not just good deeds. I mean, there's a social aspect, golf tournaments that proliferate through the summer by the hundreds. I mean, there's a high quotient of entertainment and social value here.
Well, you know, if I could just jump in, Bob.
Go ahead.
Sure, Art, go ahead.
No, if I could just jump in. You know, the athletes and their visibility can be of a big assist to many existing organizations. And I don't want to wholesale knock out the value of golf tournaments and other social events, because they can have the value of bringing attention to a cause. So even though they don't always make a lot of money for charity, they do tend to bring attention to an issue, and that can be helpful to society as well. But people need to know when they come to these events that it's not likely that their contributions are going to be of a great financial benefit to the enterprise. It's more that they are bringing attention to the cause, and that maybe over time they'll continue to give, and the charity will benefit and society will benefit. But these kinds of things need to be disclosed. People don't automatically understand this when they participate, and they're often disappointed later on when the totals are given and not very much money has ended up going to the particular charity. But athletes can be enormously valuable. I would encourage athletes to lend their visibility, their names, their talents to existing organizations, ones that are doing good in the community, and you can find many of them on our website, give.org, that are doing great work. Find a way to connect with these organizations. They would be very happy to have you as spokespeople. They'd be very happy to bring you into their cause. stay away from organizations that you are going to create if you're an athlete, if you're not going to lend the time and energy to make it work well.
Well, Mark, in your experience and working with a number of charities and just knowing this field so well, when you see problems, is it mismanagement? Is it employment of family in key positions and drawing salaries? Is it malfeasance and outright criminal? What's the biggest issue here?
In rare cases, is it malfeasance or criminal activity? There is that, but the vast majority of cases is having people who are just inexperienced and not properly trained to run foundations. That's the biggest problem in this field right now. And I want to comment on one other thing that was said earlier in your piece about the athlete who said, "It's my money, it's my money." Actually, that's not correct. When you make a donation to a charity, you get the tax deduction, and then your hands are off it, and the money belongs to the charity. And how it's given out is determined by charitable laws and regulations, and that's an important distinction.
Mark, I want to just ask you pick up on what Art said, the advice to athletes who want to do something good, to align themselves with existing charities. You work with celebrities and you've worked with athletes. There's an ego quotient here. Is that realistic?
Well, there is an ego quotient, but I would agree wholeheartedly with Art. It makes much more sense to align yourself with a charity that's already going. You save all the overhead. There's no greater example than Warren Buffett, who was going to give away about $55 billion, and he chose, instead of starting a new charity, to give it to the Gates Foundation. And why? Wow. To save the overhead. It makes a lot of sense.
Great example. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Art Taylor, Marc Pollick, appreciate your time on Outside the Lines. Thank you very much. For more on the issue of celebrity athletes, tax-exempt charitable foundations, and the questions that arise, read Paula's online report at ESPN.com. We'll be right back.